Hello, everyone. You're watching Fuos Empire. My name is Diufet Joseph, and today I want to share something that matters.
This mental shift separates winners from everyone else. The gap between the people who succeed and the people who don't is rarely a gap in talent. It's not even a gap in opportunity. It's a gap in thinking. Two people can have the same abilities, the same education, the same background, and the same starting point, yet one rises and the other plateaus. What separates them isn't luck. It isn't intellect. It's perspective. The way they view time, the way they measure progress, and the way they define worth. Most people never realize that their mindset quietly controls their destiny. Success is simply the external reflection of an internal shift. And until that shift happens, everything else remains the same. Short versus long game. Most people live for today. Winners build for tomorrow. The average person makes decisions based on immediate comfort, immediate pleasure, and immediate validation. They want results fast. They want recognition fast. They want progress without the waiting period. This is why fad diets sell, get rich quick schemes sell, and shortcuts are so appealing. The short game rewards impatience. It feeds the desire to feel good now. But the problem with the short game is that it rarely builds anything worth keeping. Easy gains disappear fast. Comfort collapses under pressure. And shortcuts eventually reveal what they skipped. Winners think in timelines that outlast the moment. They plant seeds today that won't bear fruit for months or years. They're willing to look wrong now to be right later. They're willing to sacrifice now to collect rewards later. They understand that the world pays compound interest to those who can delay gratification. Compounding isn't only a financial concept. It applies to skills, relationships, fitness, business, and even confidence. When you make consistent deposits in learning, in practice, in discipline, the results seem invisible for a while. Then they suddenly appear. To outsiders, it looks like a breakthrough. To the person who invested, it's simply the moment the long game matured. Most people quit during the invisible stage. They expect progress to be linear, predictable, and visible. When it's not, they assume it isn't working. Winners expect the invisible stage. They know early progress often looks like failure. They know the first months of anything are filled with doubt, silence, and no applause. They know the world usually claps at the end, not at the beginning. This difference alone creates entirely different outcomes. The person who quits early never sees payoff. The person who persists quietly collects rewards others never taste. The long game requires patience, and patience requires perspective. When you believe the future matters, you are willing to endure discomfort today. When you don't, you chase comfort today and sacrifice the future. If you study any meaningful success story, whether in business, art, sports, or science, you'll find the same pattern. Years of planting, followed by a harvest that looks sudden to everyone else. Value over validation. Stop chasing approval. Start creating value. Most people are driven by validation. They want to be seen, acknowledged, and respected. They want likes, applause, attention, and praise. And there is nothing wrong with wanting to be appreciated. But when validation becomes the goal, value disappears. Validation is hollow. It depends entirely on external perception. One day it's given, the next day it's gone. You cannot build a meaningful life on something that's fragile. Winners orient their lives around value. Value they create, value they learn, and value they offer. They measure progress not by how many people approve, but by how much they contribute. They understand that value is what makes people return, invest, trust, and remember. The marketplace pays for value. Life rewards value. Relationships deepen around value. And value compounds over time. This shift is especially noticeable in creative work. The artists who chase applause usually create shallow work. They adjust themselves to whatever gets likes or whatever trends at the moment. They mold their identity around the reaction of others. But the artists who chase mastery, skill, and originality create timeless work. Their focus is not on approval, but on excellence. Ironically, they often receive more recognition in the end, because value attracts attention more reliably than attention attracts value. The same pattern plays out in careers. The employee who constantly seeks recognition from their boss rarely gets it. They ask for credit instead of building competence. Meanwhile, the person who keeps learning, solving problems, and improving without begging for validation becomes indispensable. Their value becomes undeniable. Eventually, the recognition arrives, not because they demanded it, but because the ecosystem couldn't function without them. Validation is addictive but unsustainable. It pulls you outward, toward trends, opinions, and judgment. Value pulls you inward, toward craft, skill, learning, and contribution. One path makes you fragile, the other makes you powerful. The day you stop asking, do they approve? And start asking, does this matter? Is the day your trajectory begins to change. Identity shift. Act like the person you're trying to become. The most powerful mental shift isn't about goal setting. It's about identity. Most people try to change their life using behavior first. They try to force themselves to wake up early, to work out, to read, to study, to be consistent. And it works temporarily until old identity pulls them back. Behavioral change without identity change collapses under pressure. Winners reverse the process. They decide who they are before they act. Identity drives behavior. A person who identifies as someone who never misses training does not ask, should I go today? They go because it's who they are. A writer writes, a runner runs, a leader leads. Identity removes negotiation. It removes hesitation. It removes the mental friction that destroys momentum. There is a moment in every transformation where the story someone tells themselves changes. The story shifts from I'm trying to learn to I am someone who learns. From I'm trying to get in shape to I am an athlete in training. From I'm trying to build a business to I am a builder. When identity shifts, discipline becomes natural. You stop forcing behavior and start embodying it. Identity also explains why so many people stay stuck. Their identity is outdated. They cling to old labels: lazy, uncreative, inconsistent, unworthy. Not because they are true, but because they are familiar. Your standards shift, and eventually, your reality shifts with them. If you want a different life, you don't need more motivation. You need a different mindset. Because once the mind changes, behavior follows. And once behavior follows, results are inevitable. One day you will look in the mirror and realize the person you were meant to become has been waiting the entire time. The question is simple. Will you answer the call or silence it again tomorrow? Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to stay updated with our latest videos.